Hello my friends, and thank you for coming back to my channel. Today we'll take further our second tutorial, which you can find in my channel along with the first part, and now we can introduce the third part, which will include the before takeoff, climb out and cruise checklists. Please note that I'm not a pilot, and this tutorial is based on my knowledge that I gained by playing this game many hours. This video is based only to the game side and not in real world flights. You should not use the following instruction in real life. The aircraft we use is always an Boeing 737-800, and as you can see, we stopped just before the 3 right runway to complete the before takeoff checklist. So if we unpause again, we have parking brake set. For those who are not familiar with the keyboard shortcuts, please watch my tutorials from the very start, and we will all be in the same page. Throttle idle. Let's go into 3D view. Throttle idle. Elevator trim is set for take off. Flaps. This is the instrument that indicates the flaps position. We have to set it to 5 degrees. 5 degrees. Spoilers retracted. Flight instrument check. Engine instrument check. Takeoff data. Takeoff data is V1, VR, and V2. V1 is the speed beyond which the takeoff should no longer be aborted. Today we set it to 145 knots. VR is the rotation speed, the speed at which the pilot begins to apply control inputs to cause the aircraft's nose to pitch up, after which it will leave the ground. V2 is the takeoff safety speed, the speed at which the aircraft may safely be climbed with one engine inoperative. You can say that the V2 will be about 160 knots. Now, Shift 5, the navigation equipment should be checked because they will be flying to the autopilot. We will set the GPS on, lights off, strobe light on, pitot heat on, de-ice as required. We don't need it today. Transponder is on. If I press Shift 2, you can see on the radio stack here, this is our transponder. Shift 4, Shift 5 to hide, Shift 2 to hide, and now we can request for takeoff clearance. Shift 4 to hide that as well. Accent 3.
Venezuela Tower, Boeing Echo Lima 55, ready to go. Runway 3 right, IFR to Macedonia. Boeing Echo Lima 5.
So we were ready to take off. We finished our before takeoff checklist, and since we are clear to take off, we proceed to the takeoff checklist. So we must be centered on the runway. So let's release the brakes and give thrust to the airplane to start take our position on the runway. We have to acknowledge the tower.
Right, Boeing Echo Lima 55.
This is a nice view of the runway.
On runway 03 right.
I will stop just after the green lights, which they are ahead of us, so we can make the takeoff checklist. We are reducing thrust. We are taking position on the runway. Let's slightly give a little bit of thrust. Right, so that should do. So centered on runway, check. We can smoothly increase the thrust to 60%. We let the engines to spool up 60%. Take off thrust full, brakes release. Now we're looking for 80 knots. At 80 knots the pilots usually call check. 70, 80 knots, check. V1, rotate. We are looking about 20 degrees. Positive rate, gear up. 1000 feet, flaps 1 degree. At 210 knots, we can reduce the speed to, we can reduce the flaps to 0%. We have to acknowledge the tower. The throttle should be as required. We're looking for a trim to 250 knots, so we can climb with approximately 10,000 feet, 210 knots, so flaps up. Autopilot and auto throttle check and should be on. We activate the approach, the altitude and the automatic pilot. Now the airplane will fly based on the pink line that you can see here. You can see a nice view of Athens, which is there is the airport. Passenger signs could be off, and above 10,000 feet we will increase speed to 180 knots. The auto brake is off as is supposed. We can contact controlling approach.
Boeing Echo Lima 55 is climbing through 5,800 for 10,000.
We are looking to go at 10,000 feet. I will increase the speed to 250 knots, which is the maximum available speed that you can have below 10,000 feet. We can acknowledge. They are telling us to turn right heading 345 in order to intercept our the path or the course or however you can call it on our crystal checklist. You can see that we slowly, a nice view, a nice view here. The tower is speaking to some other people, so it doesn't really matter. We are almost to 10,000 feet, which we have been assigned to fly straight away after our departure from the Eleftherios Venizelos tower. They will contact us slightly before we reach the 10,000 feet and to let us to give us the clearance to fly higher. Any minute now we are expecting our call. There it is. So we have to contact Athens. We acknowledge.
Boeing Lima 55. Approach Boeing Echo Lima 55 with you 900,900. Boeing Echo Lima 55 controlling approach. Roger.
Altimeter 3024 checked. And as I said, we've just received the information to climb and maintain flight level 220, which means 22,000 feet. So we are turning the knob rightwards and we stop on the 22,000. We acknowledge, and since we are above 10,000 feet, we increase our speed to 280 knots. And we are waiting now to reach the 18,000 feet so we can make the cruise checklist. It will not take further. You have to tune Athens Center. Different communication that can go through.
Boeing Echo Lima 55 is climbing through 11,000 for flight level 220. Boeing Echo Lima 55 Athens Center, Roger. Altimeter 3024.
So we are at 18,000 feet. We have to set the altimeter at 1013 millibar or 29.92, which you can see here. You have to press B for Bravo and automatically the altimeter resets. Set this value since this is the transition flying level for resetting the altimeter, and this is the 18,000 feet. Can accelerate the cruise speed to 330 knots since we passed the 18,000 feet. The engine and instrument check, they are all working as normal. Fuel quantity is here, check. The radios are tuned and set to the airport. Autopilot is checked and set. The lights are as required. So now I will fly the flight until our final destination, which is the airport of Thessaloniki city, or the airport's name is Macedonia Airport with ICAO Lima Golf Tango Sierra. I will be back with you before we start our approach to the airport. The tutorial will include, as I said before, the descent checklist, approach checklist, and landing checklist. If you like the video, please like and subscribe to my channel so we can stay in touch. Please leave a comment and tell me your thoughts, and tell me what you would like to watch next. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Have a nice day and always take care, my friends. See you.